Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay, Addy? Concurrent viewers, 4 at some point. I can't tell if you guys can hear me or see anything. Let me know. All right, you can see. Cool, thank you guys. You can see. Can you see the chart also? You should be able to see at this point a chain link chart. Let me know what you guys got going on your end. Nice. All right, well, let's just hop into it. And since you guys are the first ones here, really, is there any charts that you would like me to cover? Or do you have any questions over anything, fibs, anything that you've been working on in your personal development? Nice. NEAR and then AVAX. All right, I will cover NEAR first, and then we'll go back for AVAX. Let me know if at any point you guys I freeze up on your end or we start to have any sort of problems or anything. All right. So let's zoom out a little bit here. So I struggle with NEAR because of its first leg up was really not an impulsive leg. You know what I mean? The first leg up was more of a 3-wave motion. And because of that, it makes it really hard for me to want to get behind calling it an impulse. You know what I mean? So the very first thing I'm noting here is on the daily, we can see a 3-wave motion up in a possible A and a 3-wave motion down in a possible B that gave overlap, which would make it hard to say this was a wave 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Let's delete everything and talk our way through this really quickly. Let's go to 8 hour. Clear up some of this trash. Because you should be able to see that we have a 3-wave motion to the upside and a 3-wave motion to the downside and a possible sharp punchy 5-wave move to the upside, right? So if we look at NEAR from that perspective, even here to start, right, you have 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and a choppy wave to the upside that might be a 5-wave motion, right? So, yo, what's up, Andrew? So for me, the potential of this being a 3-wave motion would be really large. It would be something I'd be looking for, right? So for now, I would say it could be an ABC only to the upside, and we could see another ABC here down to the downside, which would be really good because you could potentially see a reversal out of here. So let's go to the daily and then move on to the 3-day. I would like to see what we got back here. So when things kind of start off in this way where they move up, pull back, move up, a lot of time to me, that looks like a 3-wave motion, right? Unfortunately, it's not the most bullish way that things can look. Let's go to an older chart here to see if we got any sort of prior 5-wave motions. Yeah, even back here in time, you would be really hard pressed to call this a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would be really the only bullish way that you might be able to tweak this around so that you have some sort of prior degree move that you can give some probability or dependability into buying into these things, right? So, excuse my cough. I've been sick forever and have allergies, so I'm going to be coughing a lot during this. I apologize. The problem is when this leg to the downside rejected, you can see that it makes a really nice displacement to the downside. And it breaks that 1.618 or minimum wave 3 to the downside that we would look for. Because of that, it does give probability that this is the first leg of something to the downside and just a retracement to the upside. And because of that, I would be nervous that everything near is doing to the upside may only be corrective. That's my only issue. Does that seem to track with what you're thinking, sir? Addie, if you're still there, I don't know if you guys can hear me. I don't trust the YouTube streaming services at all in comparison to everything else I like to use. But yeah, so for me, I think it looks like a three-wave motion to the upside. You can see resistance comes in here at the fib extension, 786, and then gives a good rejection to the downside. What's up, Delta? How are you? So for me, I would say this is not an impulsive chart or something with a prior five-wave motion that I could give really good probability. So let's look at AVAX for Devin really quickly. So this is a good example of a prior five-wave motion. So let's delete everything so you can see it really quickly. We talked this one in our morning live stream, so this is kind of a review for some people, but this may be new information. But you can see you get a 1, 2, 3, excuse me, 4, and 5. After that, you get a decent move to the downside, a decent move to the upside in 3 waves, and a strong motion to the downside in a possible 5-wave. Now, because of this, there is the possibility that the next wave up for AVAX could be big, but you're really going to need to pay attention to how the recovery is made, right? So if this prior 5-wave motion to the upside gave you around an estimated 654%, I would be hard-pressed not to call that an impulse, right? Now, when I'm on the weekly, I don't really like to use my trend-based fib extensions as targets. What's up, Timothy? How are you, sir? I hope you're well. So when we use our extensions to the upside, I really like to switch to a linear chart to keep my targets realistic. The reason I say this is because in past cycles, we have seen time and time again where people make these lavish claims, right? This coin X is going to $27. Coin X is going to $18. Whatever it is the claims are, right? We're not here for that bullshit. We're here to actually be kind of analytical and look for probability and try to be investors versus a bunch of hopeless sheep. All right, so let's pop this on and see where we could be going to. So if we go from a low to the high of that possible first 5-wave motion, which may either be an A or a 1, we'll figure out later in time. And the reason I say it, let's use the numbers we currently have so that we don't mess up the screen too much. So that's our typical wave 5 target, minimum wave 3 target's a 1.618. You typically drop back a hair after for the 4. Pop our wave 1 here for now. Let's turn off this magnet. And let's say we possibly saw the low of a 2. If this is true, we really want to see a pivot. We want to see us start to build some bullish engulfing candles, pushing back through these internal fair value gaps that we can see here on the weekly. Those are really important how we interact with these. It's going to tell us exactly how bullish or not bullish this trend will be if it is to resume. So be watching for that internal fair value gap. It's pretty confluent with your old golden pocket support. You really wouldn't want to see that turn into resistance, right? So it's something to key into. Now let's delete this so we can be watching the resistances of the motion up. So I would like to put a retracement resistance fib from the highs to the lows, right? I'm going to use my new style template that we made in our Discord community. And this way I'm able to see the whole roadmap ahead of me, right? So we know, looking at this, probability says the most 2 areas typical to go to is the 618 golden pocket. And if we can defeat that and flip the bullish or the bearish retracement probability shift point, which is the 786. If we break that, dude, we're full on looking for a 1.236 to 1.382 retracement target, right? And you're going to start to see some confluences of targets coming up here and why this could be a decent move, right? So if this was 5 waves in A or 1 and a retracement in a B or 2, your wave C is likely 80% of the time in corrections to stop at the 1 through 1.382 extension, right? So you can see how that area is really confluent with that next probable area of target that we're looking for to the upside. Now, if it is to get impulsive, minimum target for a wave 3 on AVAX would be $106, and the wave 5 target would be around an estimated $141. Is that helpful for your question, sir? Devin? You really got to look for this to break to those impulsive fibs and prove it. You want to see it break the 1 through 1.382 to prove to you that this is more than just a base movement, right? This is more than just a correction. So you break 1.382 and we could start to talk about it. The other thing that I highly recommend you do is put on a base channel from this low to the low of our 2 or B to the high of this 1 or A. Now, you're really going to want to see for the bulls, we break that 1-to-1, we break what's called a base channel. This theory comes along because of Jeffrey Kennedy. Sorry, I'm falling all over my words. And he is an amazing trader and teaches how to put on the base channels, acceleration channels, and these things align with Elliott wave really well. So do ask questions if you have more moving forwards. You can always feel free to reach out to me on Twitter and the Discord community. And I love talking with you guys, so reach out anytime. Excuse the cough. But yeah, so for now, I would say AVAX, you have that prior 5-wave motion giving you probability 2 more, right? So at some point we will see this gaming section or, you know, the gaming sector of the cryptocurrencies start to move. And a lot of times you'll have like that Mana, Sand, ENJ, AVAX, those type of coins will start to move. So while we're talking about these gaming coins, let's talk about Mana. Okay, let's talk about what we could see going on here. So if we look at Mana, you can see that you may have made a 5-wave motion to the upside. You have diverging volume, meaning highest buyers and highest green interest in the market here was people coming in as we were building that wave 3. And then as we went into the wave 5, the volume diverged, giving us the possibility to see that momentum shift. We also note that we barely make a higher high on the RSI, not the strongest look, and then you see a big pullback to the golden pocket retrace support taken from the inception point of the move to the high of the 5, right? And this is no different than the other coin you had me look at, friend, which was AVAX for you, Devin. So I would also be looking for the same concept or strategy to be applied to Mana if it were to move forward and build a pivot. So we'd want to go from the low to the high to the low and look for that same, either it's going to be an ABC to the upside or we'll validate an impulse and we'll start to move on, right? So if this is just an ABC, it won't break 1 through 1.382. And if it is to get impulsive, right, then we would add in that minimum 1.618 and the 2.236 as just a rough target of where a wave 5 could go, right? So this is something to be looking for on Mana. The other thing we can do is always add that base channel for now. Does it mean it pivots here? No, it's just another way for you to have a roadmap to look forward to as we go. We watch that gateway drug 618. We watch our center line. Those are confluent with each other. Those interactions at center line are hyper critical for you to monitor and pay attention to what's going on. It's often that first roadblock for you guys' coin, right? So they'll have that golden pocket extension 0.618 and you'll run into that and just get punched right in the throat sometimes. So it's really critical to know if you have 5 waves here and a pullback and you form 5 waves to the 618, you're likely going to get another pullback before another explosive move to the upside. So no stress, but it's something to watch. All right. So let's move on from AVAX and AVAX and Mana. And let's see what else you guys had. All right, so in the chat, we got Addy, looks like Near, yeah. Let me get caught up here. Man, I'm so happy someone would come in and say hi like that, and even though they didn't have time to stay, thank you. All right, let's keep going. AIOZ, yes, sir. Also, hello, MMJ. Don't worry about being busy with your health issues, dude. We miss you. Excited to see you again one day. No stress. All right, let's look at AIOZ. This is a chart that what is up, JDM? How are you? Let's go look at AIOZ. This is something we charted the other day together in our live stream in the community, and we absolutely nailed support to the T. We can get you a short YouTube video or something put together over that another time. But it honestly has been a banger, right? This was the support area that we were buying and accumulating. You're either got a 2 or a B here. Let me get my magnet turned off. And we are looking for a 3 or a C to the upside. Make sure we're still on log because we're only on the daily. And that would give us those reactions, right? Look at our center line reaction, guys. You're right here. But we're going to do roar 2 then, man. You got to bring in everybody. You got to get this thing pumping. So we got our center line reaction here. And as always, guys, if you guys go repost that Twitter post, interact with that Twitter post, it's really going to help other people see us so we can get this community out there to more people. Because I promise you, we're bringing the fire. We're giving all kinds of supports and resistances. And not only that, is we're giving you the ability to learn how to do this on your own, right? Because I think that's the most important thing, is you guys being able to do this on your own, right? So please like, support, help me out. I want to be able to show more people what they're capable of, right? Because through that, it's going to bring everybody sustainability in the crypto space. All right, so in ABC, 80% of the time we'll get some hold up here at the 1.1 through 1.382 extensions. So that's the main thing we're going to be watching for. If AIOZ is to break out and go just 8 bananas, right, we'd have a wave 1, which we already labeled. Excuse my clicks. Wave 5, wave 3, likely wave 4 would find support on the top of this base channel if we projected it into space. That's what you like to see in a wave 4. FARTBOY, yeah, let's do some FARTBOY. What's up, Victor? We're also going to hammer on LEASH and roar. You guys, thanks for pumping the chat. Thanks for making the time to come by. I will also timestamp all of these charts for you guys, so I'll go back in time, go to the recording, pop each one in so you guys can view these later. And I'm going to start trying to do more live streams where you guys can get in here and see everything. So, dude, thanks for coming by, Jacob. It means a lot, dude. All right, so let's keep on going. So this will be the very first thing you'd be looking for on AIOZ. Let's look at the weekly really quick because this is where the magic's going to happen, right, guys? This is exactly what we just talked about. Let's go back to linear to keep ourselves realistic on our roadmap. And if this is to take off in the macro move of this prior 5-wave motion to the upside, right? Here's the important hypercritical thing to note. If you measure from the lows to the highs, your very first move on AIOZ of those 5 waves was 8,000%, right? That's absolutely phenomenal. Here's the best part. You expect that to happen again, minimum, right? So by that I mean, you take an extension from low to the high of the 5 to the low of the possible correction that we saw here, and you look for a 1-to-1, right? Giving you the same 8,000% again. It's essentially like mirroring this leg up into space. These trend-based fib extensions basically forget about this center part and they just ignore it and they replicate a leg past a connector and show you the partner legs, targets, or extensions. All right. So what we're looking for here is that minimum $1.24, and we're looking to shatter out the 165, run to that $2 range, verify a wave 3, barely fall back at all in a 4, and then go ahead for that final 5th wave. Does that make sense? That would take AIOZ up to $2.57 if it were to continue onward, right? So you'd have, excuse me, wave 5, wave 3, wave 4. And I can tell you to keep this in mind. The wave 3, or the actual wave that we're possibly walking into right now for this coin, would be the most explosive, most displaced leg that you would see for AIOZ, right? So this would be just an explosive move from here to $2. Wham! People are going to be getting paid, right? So it's something to look forward to. It's usually the most displaced leg in the upside. And I can go and show you some coins who have proven this to us, like PEPE is a good one we'll go look at after this. But oftentimes the wave 3 gets extended. I'm not trying to toot the horn and get you guys all way too stoked, but wave 3 is like 2.618, 3.618, 4.618, and so forth. They like that X 0.618 measure. So as soon as they smash out that minimum wave 3, there ain't shit holding it back. It can cruise to a 2.618 at $3, right? And then you end up with another move for the 5. And your 4 holds shallow and goes sideways, right? And you look for that alternation. Something to keep in mind is that you often see a time that is pretty relative to each other from your wave 2 to your wave 4. So if your wave 2 took X number of days, 378 days, you should expect your wave 4 for this coin to be something like that. So why give these assholes a loan? Get paid when we start topping out in wave 3s, and let's move on. But that's AIOZ. So I hope that one's helpful for you guys. I think that's a really good chart and something to be looking forward to. This will be able to cover the macro and the micro for you guys. So, all right, let's see what we had next as a chart, guys. It looks like render. So let's go look at render really quick. Yeah, thanks, Eddie, for asking that one. That's a good one. All right, let's talk about render. Now, the thing to consider here is that you have a macro and a micro chart. We'll go through all of it, but let's start here on the weekly with the ifs and buts and candies and nuts and maybes. Okay? So it's the same theory here again. You have a prior 5-wave motion to the upside in a wave 1 and a macro pullback in a wave 2. I don't know about some of you, but I remember when we shorted this high right here, it was phenomenal. So what you're looking for is one of two things to happen. Either A, you validate a wave 3 by pushing up and making that $24 mark, or you don't, right? And you do our corrective extensions that we've already talked about, going to the 1 through 1.382, right? I'll add the other ones on in case you guys go back and watch the video later. You'll be able to see all of your targets all in one simple spot. I think it really helps boost the education and gives you guys the opportunity to learn faster. So this coin has amazing setup, right? The thing to look at here was your very first 5-wave motion to the upside. It's just a rough estimate here. Was 3,354%. So you're looking for another similar leg to that minimum, right? We're looking for this thing to move up. So wave 3 would get up to around $24. What's up, Ricky Rodriguez? Thanks for coming by. Thanks for popping in. So that would take our wave 3 on render up to $24. And that's why I made that YouTube video. So that's a bullshit, you guys, and give you fucking moon boy targets. It's so that you have something logical to look forward to based upon mathematical data. I don't give a shit what some asshole on YouTube says with a gun in their hand and we're all gonna make 20X's. That shit, turn it off, move on. If they're not giving you validation and invalidation points, they don't know what they're doing. They're hype beasts. Move on. But anyhow, so that would take your wave 5 up to, and this is on linear again to keep us realistic. Does it mean it can smash out these targets? Very well. This is just me trying to keep myself safe and my investments so that I'm not a moon boy. All right, so this is our macro plan. Let's zoom in and check out what we have going on the daily. Again, excuse me, guys. I've been sick forever, but I wanted to get people caught up and see where everything was at on the markets, because I think it's important for everybody to know kind of what's going on out there with the roadmap and what we're looking forward to. So let's delete this and this. So if you're looking for this to move off, again, you're looking for that 5-wave motion to the upside. So in my opinion, you have a wave 1 into 2, wave 3, 4, and 5. And then you have a big pullback that looks like a 5, 3, and 5 down in an ABC. What's up, man? Thank you for coming by, sir. What's up, G? I love when people have like, everybody's got their own way of saying hello. All right. So let's pop on the retracement fib so we can look at the support that we found because it was pretty amazing. And again, guys, if you have like a Twitter or anything, just let your friends know, man. Come on in. We'll cover any coins y'all want. Thank you, dude. Thanks for supporting the Discord. I hope that you're finding a ton of value there. It brings a huge smile to my face to know that you guys truly enjoy this. Really does. Thank you. All right, so the next thing we got to look at is our extensions to the downside. We'll pop these on, and then I'll pop on. Oh, Soul Snake, dude. Thanks for supporting me, man. And then we will also look at the biggest thing here is that you're getting a confluence of supports at your extensions and retracements. So let's put some fibs or some Elliott wave counts on here to help our eyes understand what may be going on, right? Whether this is the 3 or 4, it's really irrelevant. You can argue and say this is 3 and all that's 4. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to do that. We have a 5-wave motion to the upside. We're looking for some sort of retracement. It came. It's here. It went to those confluent supports of the retracements and extensions. And when it did this, it gave you 2 things that you should be paying attention to. The first one is a regular bull divergence on the 8-hour. That occurs because price action candles, the flat spot on the candle, actually made a lower closure on price action, but on the RSI, it made a higher closure. Right? So that's a regular bull divergence on the RSI. You don't need all these fancy ass indicators. You need to learn your RSI. You need to learn hidden and regular divergences. Pair that up with an area of interest like these fibs. And I promise you'll start killing the game. And you'll stop having to rely on these other assholes. All right. So if this is a micro 8-hour, which is far from a damn micro, move to the upside, again, the same theory applies. You're doing nothing but the same strategy we just showed again and again. Place your base channel from a low to a high. We're going to be watching that center line reaction as we come up. What's up, Mad Peta? We're going to get to Roar really soon. I'm excited. And Fartboy. So, again, we don't need to see all these things on the screen because we already looked at them. And this would be the individual leg to the upside or the potential impulsive wave 3 of this motion. Either a wave 3 or a C to the upside on that, that weekly, that larger macro time frame we were looking at. So again, you'll see this gateway drug, 618. I bring it up over and over again. Highly critical for you to understand. A lot of times you run into it and fall back. So I wouldn't be surprised if this price action did make a pivot here. After it breaks the bull control zone 50 EMA on the 8-hour, it will help you confirm that we're in the bullish trend again, right? The trend was already bullish. It's your fucking friend until it's over. So let's just stick with it. All right. So if this were to continue onward, the cool thing here is, again, wave 5 target, wave 3 target, wave 4 makes a shallow retracement. You really don't want it to come back in your base channel or it usually invalidates your move, which is great, right? I don't know why people get so mad when they're wrong or their play gets invalidated. I welcome that. I want to be wrong. I think it gives you an opportunity to learn, gives you an opportunity to refine your system, say good, reload, and keep moving. Everything will be okay. All right, so we did this. We covered the micro and the macro for render. I think it's an amazing coin, something to be watching out for in the future. All right, let's move on here. And Delta said, can we take a peek at the 1-hour time frame wave count on Brett? Watch it. He's going to ask the hardest chart of the day. All right, let's see if we can find it. So for now, let's look at the 8-hour because I think it's hypercritical to understand why this could be bullish, right? So if you have 5 waves and a potential wave 1 or a wave A, then we're looking for that next leg to the upside. Again, check your chart because you're on an 8-hour. Make sure you are on log. That's what I'm using. That will make your targets make a little bit more sense. I placed a deceleration channel on the move down from high to low. You can see we have amazing centerline reactions, and we were under our 50 EMA on the 8 hour. Not only were we under the 50 EMA on the 8 hour, we were under the 50 RSI value on the 8 hour. Now, when you see your price action and RSI under those 50 values on any time frame, it's in the bear control zone, right? So right now we're noticing Brett's stepping up. It's making a fucking hideous inverse head and shoulders. It's busting its way back up into a deceleration channel, right? It came out of an area of interest that we noted earlier. What else do we see, guys, at an area of interest? We have a regular bull divergence, right? That occurs again because you have lower price action closures, or the actual flat spot of the candle, and higher RSI closures, right? Regular bull divergence is something to note, even more so when it comes in at an area of interest. At the same time, you're building the world's fucking ugliest, jacked off inverse head and shoulders and possibly forming a pivot here. Let's look at volume to see, did the sellers diverge as price action moved down, right? Because if you're getting a divergence on our RSI, we're seeing the volume diverging, all of these things at an area of interest, why not toss the dice, right? That's called investing, not gambling, not being an asshole. All right? Look at this. This supports it more so. Didn't mean to move that up there on you guys. I meant to move it down. I apologize. So you can see if this were a move to the downside, and I'll label it so that you guys can make sense of this. If this is A, 3 up in B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in C, move this over here. And Elliott Wave is highly in-depth strategy. So don't feel bad if it sounds like a bunch of shit coming at you at once. Actually welcome that, right? It means you have a shit ton of stuff to learn, but you're going to be amazing in no time, right? So when you look at this, we can see 5 waves within that C wave. And the big thing that we're noting, get it all labeled up here, 4 and 5, is not only did we get the divergence at the bottom of the C leg, you also have a selling divergence, meaning your highest sellers came in during your wave 3 of your wave C, and they didn't support the selling as much when it came to the wave 5 of the wave C, right? This is how you lead to those reversals. So let's get rid of the RSI. We don't need it anymore. Let's go to the hourly like the gentleman asked about, because I'm sure it's going to be a fucking crapshoot. I personally don't like going to these time frames. I think it oftentimes puts you in a bad way, right? You're going to start counting shit that's not going to be the highest probability. So I don't recommend this. But anyhow, so far, I would say that it isn't looking the most impulsive. By that, I mean there's no displacement here. Now, could this be some sort of diagonal to start things off? Yes. And then you note a 3-wave pullback that was very large, and it reset the RSI very well. I want to show you guys something on the RSI that most people don't talk about. Patterns in your RSI are they're good. They're going to give you the same probability as us watching them other places. So this is a wonky donkey inverse head and shoulders on your RSI. You broke above the MA or neckline at the same time, and then we got some airtime in our charts. Now, if this is a jacked, fucked up diagonal of some kind, I would have to say it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, it could be slightly different, but I'm not going to go beat my head against the wall and pick this thing apart on a 15-minute time frame. It would be pointless, right? You've already broken the highs. So let me delete everything to clean up the chart. Remember, guys, you don't need fucking 50,000 templates saved and all this other bullshit. Just start drawing things on your chart so that you're learning. All right, so again, apply the same strategies we've been learning. Let's go from a 0 to the low of the pullback of that 3-wave move that made an amazing hidden bull divergence on the RSI. I don't know if many of you know what a hidden bull divergence is, so I'm sorry if I'm over speaking on some of these things, but I think some of them are really critical take-home points. So a lot of times a hidden bull divergence occurs in an uptrend when the RSI resets very deeply, but the price action did not reset past those prior peaks, right? So for instance, we can see the low on price action and the low on RSI. The low on price action and the low on RSI. Yes? Pretty amazing. Combined with the inverse head and shoulders on the RSI, this is something that was worth taking a shot on, even on the hourly. Now, to confirm a wave 3, guys, what do we want to see? We want to see a clean break of the fucking base channel, and we want to start moving to the upside. Also, sorry for cussing. If it offends you guys, I'll pull back. I apologize. Let's put an extension from low to high to low, and let's talk about how this can move to the upside, right? So you have potential that this was a wave 1, a wave 2, and you're looking for a wave 3 to break out of the base channel and hit the 0.7097 level at the 1.618. Then give a light retracement in the wave 4 and finish it off with a 5-wave move to the wave 5 target at the 2.236 extension at 0.8184. That's an amazing point, Addy. 2 things that we should notice, guys. Number 1, a pin bar or tail bar structure built off of not only old resistance, you can see this was old resistance turning to support, but also built off of your center line of your base channel. That's like the most baller setup you can go for, right? Then what do? Run into the gateway drug, we flat bar by hitting it as resistance, and we build current hour support off of it. This is amazing. Now, bulls want to see volume coming in with the move to validate it as a wave 3. And it left me. Well, you're a bullshit artist. Quit being so damn soft and sad because you missed 2 seconds of price action. And know that everything, what goes up, must come down, right? So if we break out of this area and leave an internal fair value gap or a big displacement candle to the upside, then you will likely revisit that area. All right. Oh, I'm going to pause here because it seems like a bunch of you are saying maybe we're lagging here. Can you guys still hear me okay? Let me know when you guys got me back. I'll type it in the chat. Oh, cool. Everybody's good again. Right on. Let's ride. All right. Threw up 2 shakas on that one. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. All right. Little noob mark with the pencil there. So you really never miss the move, right? So let's plot this out. Let's keep riding this together. I'll keep it updated in the Discord on the lower time frames for you guys. But for now, guys, let's ride the fucking waves to the upside. It looks like things are going okay from my perspective, my standpoint looking at this. But let's keep going. All right, so that's Brett. Let's see what else we had here, guys. Where the hell is it? All right, now I'm back to where we were. Sorry, guys. The chat filled up pretty quick. Thanks. All right, let's move on to FARTBOY. It's the chart of the day. That's what everybody wants. All right, so we're going to need to go to a deck screener to look at FARTBOY, unfortunately. So let's do that because I do think it's hypercritical for you guys to hear an honest perspective from somebody who's not involved in this project. Yes, I have no skin in this game. I only want to see this do amazing things for all the fucking people involved, okay? And I mean that from my most sincerity, bottom of my heart. And the only reason I I lead it this way is because what I'm going to say might not be a popular thing for you to hear. All right. So the very first thing that we're noting here is that as this motion moved to the upside, in a possible 5-wave motion, we note a divergence comes in, meaning we had higher closures on price action. The flat spots of your candles are the actual high closures, not the wicks, because our RSI is calculated off of volume our RSI is calculated off closures in my settings. So I want to go off the actual candle body closures. So not only did we get a 5-wave structure to the upside, we had no rule breaks here, and we see what? Boom, boom. The buyers could not support this movement. I can also tell you I like to investigate shit. Right here and right here. Maybe I'm wrong on the first one, but I know right in here, a gentleman or lady tossed about $45,000 at this project. They did it twice at the highs. I don't know what that means, but it's whoever that is very unhappy right now. Anywho, we called this first leg of support, and people were like, how did we do it? Well, because it's investigating that prior degree wave 4, right? So anytime you're investigating the prior degree wave 4, it's likely only your first leg to the downside. Does that make sense? So because of what I've seen so far in price action, I feel this was only the first leg to the downside, and FARTBOY could undergo a deeper correction. Now, to talk about that, I want to show you the most common area of interest of a wave 2 is to at least get down into this 382 zone, but they can go as deep as 786. But the most common area of interest here is going to be that 0.5 to the 702. Unfortunately, those retracements take FARTBOY back to 0.1294 or as deep as 1,000,000,07070. Now, this is a CTO coin. This is a low cap meme coin. There's a lot of passionate people in here. Can it be pushed to the upside because of buyers? Yes, we could change this chart at any moment. But let's go talk about the low time frames of FARTBOY and why I'm not feeling that's the most probable course of action so far. Okay? So let's go to FARTBOY on the lower time frames. Guys, let me know if your screen froze. I think it is because I'm popping back and forth between DEX Screener and the regular trading view. So hopefully it still looks good on your end. All right, first of all, let's go talk on a daily. All good. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I love a little bit of reassurance that there's people on the other end of the phone. It's like you just called home from jail with that one phone call. Ain't nobody talking back. Even just rambling for minutes. All right, so what we wanted to see out of FARTBOY was a strong recovery to the upside in 5 waves, right? And you can see I have this labeled as a ABC and a possible W right now. And I'll explain this more as we go. Let's zoom into the 8-hour and let's talk about why I don't think this was an impulse to the upside, right? And if we want to be hopeful, maybe we can make it into a diagonal, right? I would also be open to that idea. So we're just going to talk our way through all the different scenarios really quickly together. So if this is wave 1 in a diagonal, 2, 3, and 4 with overlap, and 5, happy days, right? But a large part of me wants to say this is an A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an ending diagonal, and an ABC as another possible course of action we might see in price action, right? So because of that 3-wave start, I want to make sure I'm open to this just being a correction to the upside, you know? Oh, bye, Eddie. And after which we can go ahead and measure how long this correction's taken. And usually if they take past the 2 in time, guys, it's not a wave 2. It's a B wave, right? So where's my handy dandy wave 2? There we go. All right. And you can see, guys, that we're past that time. We're past the 2 in time, making it probable to be a B wave or an X wave versus a wave 2, right? So because of that, again, we see what? A 5-wave motion to the upside, and we're making a horrible correction here. That's like by the skin of its teeth trying to hold on to invalidation, right? So let's look at this together. What I will say is when you place this base channel from low to high, you have amazing centerline reactions after your 3 points of connection, and now you have found resistance underneath of that base channel. Because of being underneath of a base channel, it increases probability that you might find it as resistance. So the FARTBOY bulls need to get back over the 8-hour 50 EMA and the 8-hour 50 RSI resistance. Until FARTBOY steps back into that 8-hour bull control zone, you guys should be on edge. You should be watching it very, very closely, okay? And if this was, let's say, the 3-wave motion to the upside and an A or a W, and then you get a 3-wave motion to the downside and an X or a B, we're looking for likely only a 3-wave or 5-wave corrective motion to the upside in that Y or C leg. I'm going to say if it gets the C, happy days. But even then, I'm really watching out for that 1 through 1.236 as my next resistance. That comes in at 0.7567 to the 1.236 at 0.9943. This is your most probable area of resistance on a Y leg. Yes? So I would look for this to chain something together and try to get its ass up here. Now, if it loses these lows, guys, this is going to between you and yourself what you want to do. But it would be a really bad position to continue to just hold on to dear life for. That's my opinion. All right, so we nailed FARTBOY. Do you have any questions over that, Jacob, or anything else that you would like to see covered over it, sir? Thanks for that chart request, by the way. All right, it looks like the next one we got is for Victor, and it is over LEASH. Let me go see if we can find that. What happens after we hit that resistance zone? That's an amazing question, Jacob. So typically after a corrective motion to the upside, you're going to face a rejection, right? And that's the unfortunate part, right? So if you made 3 waves to the upside and you made 3 waves down, and this is just that, after you would likely sweep these lows. Unfortunately. Now, say we want to just totally fucking screw off all the bears and FARTBOY's just gonna rip saddle asses and it doesn't matter, it doesn't care about any of this stuff. It can do that. But I'll cover that when we get there. Does that make sense? First, let's deal with this area of interest and then we will cover everything else. But for now, I think people need to stay focused on the road ahead, right? It's like trying to say, what's it going to look like when we get to California? But you and me are still in a car in Florida, right? We got a damn long journey ahead of us. So that would be a hard one. So for me, that's what I would do. So as it goes up, sir, I'll be keeping this updated in the Discord and possibly on Twitter. I'll see. It's really hard to update the lower time frames on Twitter. It's much faster for me to go into the community where I'm already working and share stuff very quickly, right? So I'll keep it updated. I'm not telling you to blindly sell this zone. I can't give financial advice. I'm just a dude in a bathrobe sitting in front of a computer tossing darts, hoping to bring some education and sustainability to this space. So I would not just blindly sell on me, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep you in the loop, right? I'm going to do whatever it takes to cut down on the time that you have to spend at the charts and the time that you have to spend watching shit. That's my job in the Discord, is to bring forth the experience and things that I've picked up over time, toss those together with the mathematical things that I'm showing you, and keep you up to date so that you don't have to worry about shit. That's my goal, at least, is to deliver you that value. So, all right, so let's keep going. All right, we did FARTBOY, doot. And I thought the next thing I saw was LEASH. Let me find it. Yeah, I think it was LEASH first. So let me go through that really quickly. I don't have a contract address, so hopefully it's popular enough to find and there's not 27 of them. LEASH, the Doge Killer. Let's take it off the leash and see what she can do. All right, so let's look and see what we got as a total chart. Wow, forever downtrend. Let's see what the weekly says. All right, so not the best look so far. Let's look at our RSI. Wow, look at that Inception dildo. Wow, does it ever stop? That's what she said. All right, so let's look at our RSI here. So I would say the only really good thing that you're looking at here is that as price action continued to make lower closures, you were able to get some support here on your RSI, right? Couple things that you should take note of. You have so far a triple regular bullish divergence on the RSI, which is great. You have somewhat of a W bottom forming on your RSI here with a regular bull divergence, as you can see. Lower closures on price action, but not on RSI. RSI is trying to hold the neckline and trying to get that next move. That really needs to get fucking going, okay? Now, we're not really going to be able to do a whole lot with this because of limited data, but let's look at what we can, okay? So let's turn off our RSI. Let's fix this. So here is where the road is going to get muddy. Let's turn off our volume. Now, you can see how price action kind of starts in this 3-wave motion, 3-wave down, maybe 5 waves to the upside. But overall, this is not an impulsive kind of behavior. Let's zoom in some more and see if we can make sense of it. But a lot of times when it's really choppy like this, we won't be able to do a whole lot here. Yeah, even this is a 3-wave start and a 3-wave pullback, 3 waves up. That'd be, you would have to call this an expanding leading diagonal, unfortunately. And I'll show you why that is now. But I do want you to keep in mind that they are usually low probability. I'm going to have to not lie to myself too hard. I'm going to have to say it might have been there. Now, every part of this is in 3 waves up, 3 waves back, 3 waves up, 3 waves back, 3 waves up, big pullback. Now, the reason I call an expanding leading diagonal on leash is because look how gigantic this wave 4 is in comparison to the wave 2. Let's look at them from a time perspective, so I'm not just speaking out my ass, and let's base it on math. Trend-based fib time, and we're going to go from the high of 1 to the possible low of a 2. Over to the possible high of a 3. I'm going to have to say somewhere in here for now. And you can see that we passed the 1-to-1 in time, meaning it corrected longer, making it expanding, right? And the other thing you can do is take your trend-based fib extension, go from the high of 1 to a low of 2 to the high of 3. And we can see the wave 4 pulled just shy of the 1-to-1. So it's only in time that it's really breaking the rules, okay? But after a diagonal, what do we typically see? We typically see per Frost and Prechter's L8 wave that you get a 78.6% retracement, right? This is something you're going to hear me go on and on about on all the things I talk about. Now, if this is true, I want you to be aware this is no different than any of the strategies we just learned. You're going to need to form an invalidation point. Where would I form it? I'd form it at the recent lows. The reason why is because if this low is lost, it's fucking toasted, right? You're going to go down and hit the 888 on the lows or the near 90% retracement, making it highly probable to sweep the lows after because the macro price action was in a downtrend. Do you remember? So anytime you're in a downtrend and you hit that 90% or 888 retracement on the lows, you are telling basically everybody with half a brain, hey, I'm going to likely take the lows soon. So right if this comes down and hits the 888, it will likely only give a retrace to the 618 and then sweep those lows, okay? So it's something to be looking out for. Hitting that 888 in a trend just tells you the trend is likely to continue, okay? But let's say it doesn't. Let's say we want to be bulls. We have 5 waves in either an A or a wave 1. Right? Same strategy we've been applying the whole time. Leading diagonal in A or 1, pullback in B or 2, looking for C or 3. How do we validate this, right? We're going to use trend-based fib extensions from low to the high of 5 to the low of the 2 or B. And we're going to look for 1 through 1.382, right, guys? That takes this. Let me get, all right, we're on a 4 hour, so it's live. It's real. That takes it to the 1 line at $200, and bulls want to see it break the 1.382 at 232 and proceed to a minimum wave 3 target at 251. Rough wave 5 target from here would be the 2.236. and that comes in around 300 bucks. So the coin is doing good things, but it needs to hold that invalidation point. If it doesn't, you're just blindly investing. You're just dumping money into shit and hoping something else happens, right? It's like the definition of insanity. Every cycle, you're going to be like, fuck, I wish I didn't do that. And then next cycle, you do it again. You're like, why am I doing the same shit again? Well, it's because you're not fixing your mental issues in trading. You're just doing the same shit over and over again and hoping something different happens. So if this comes up in a C wave and only hits 200 bucks and it's not breaking out of the channel and we're making local regular bear divergences and the volume's falling off or it ends on high volume, like most good corrections could, you better get weary, right? You better start watching it. But that's leash for now, sir. Do you have any questions over it, Victor? And let's move on to your next one until I see if you have any questions or anything. The next chart that you wanted to review was ROAR, sir. Let's do that now. All right, so it's going to be another one that might not make me popular, but I don't really give a shit about being popular. I give a shit about being honest, okay? So let's go to the 3-day. And again, just like FARTBOY, something to be aware of is a possible 5-wave motion to the upside. Let me delete this random fucking line. Possible 5-wave motion to the upside that comes in with divergence. Sorry, I'm letting my little English bulldog in the room. Come on, baby. Lay down. She wanted to come in and check out the stream, I guess. You're fine. I had a tuna fish sandwich earlier, so maybe she only likes the tuna fish and she's not so much worried about me. But anyhow, if this was another one of those 5-wave motions to the upside that we talked about earlier, and it made two things that we just talked about. One is what? Higher price action closures, lower volume. The buyers did not support the move like they did in the wave 3. Your wave 3 of your wave 3 on ROAR had your highest volume, right? And at the same time, what'd you get? Divergence on your RSI. That's a momentum divergence. That should be like an oh shit moment for you. Something's wrong. Grandma's sick. This coin's not going to make it through winter. So you were looking for a pullback. Let's delete some of this stuff and talk about time. So again, time is critical in understanding what's going on. So if you use a trend-based fib time from a low to the high of the 5-wave motion, you shouldn't be done correcting until your low is made after a 382 in time, which it was in an A, B, C. So it could have been over there, right? So everybody's like, shit, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening, right? We're breaking out. I was stoked too. Excuse my cough, guys. I'm still sick as a dog. All right, chill out, Beatrice. Sorry, I was taking a sip of water. So if this were to be an impulsive start of something from the downside, you were being hopeful that this is a wave 1 into a wave 2. Now, as price action goes up, we place the extensions from 0 to 1 to 2. You aim for the minimum wave 3 target, or 1.618. If that's to be true, you don't ever want, after a wave 3 target's hit, for your wave 4 to fall back into the price action of your wave 1, which we did. Now, if we want to continue to be bullish, we might have to kind of tweak the counts and say maybe this is only the wave 3 of wave 3. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me fix this really quick. We'll grab this. So that would move your invalidation to a little bit lower in that case, meaning the green wave 1 or the smaller inner leg, you would not want to see overlap, right? Now, this would be a hell of a deep wave 4 for a wave 3 to sit through, but it's kind of the last bullish way I could see this, right? If it is able to pull this off and pump from here, I personally think the next area of interest for ROAR would be, let me do it with fibs so I'm not just guessing, from 0 to 3 to 4. I would look for your next resistance to come in anywhere between 0.6991 at the 0.618. And if it's lucky, it could give a pump to 0.1094, right? Now, that would be good because then this yellow wave 3 would get that overall displacement in the longer leg. But until it does this, please be aware that it might come down lower because of our macro counts that we talked about here. By that I mean, let's use our extensions again, that this would just be the start of the correction. 3 waves in an A, 3 waves up in a B, and then you would look for a C wave to come down to the 1 through 1.382, which I already had on the screen. So this would be that target box. That would take roar back to 0.7268 down to possibly even the 1.382 at 0.3168. So this is something to be aware of, okay? I just like to share both the bullish and bearish scenarios so you know what's going on. I cover these in our live streams in the Discord community in the mornings. And I take care of chart requests as soon as you guys ask them. So if you want to stay in the loop like that, dude, pop in the Discord, check it out for a week. I give everybody a week free little trial, see if it's something you like. And then after that, I'm sure you'll see the value, and we'll be seeing each other a lot more often. But anyhow, do you have any questions over Victor? Or over Victor? Over Roar Victor. If you do, shoot him. I'd love to hear him. Let's go find the next chart while I wait to hear back from you. Mad Pita Peppers, if you're still here. That was Roar, my friend, for you and the Roar community. I hope it was helpful. All right, so let's go down. We're past where you guys talked about lagging at this point. Spen says, AERO's looking solid. All right, let's go look at AERO. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, Victor. All right, let's go look at AERO. Now, this is one that I made a YouTube video because I was very passionate. This was the area of interest I shared with my Discord community to buy. We bought using the strategy we've learned over the years of time of being together. We bought at the 1 through 1.382. We bought very little at the 1 line, and we bought again at the 1.236 heavier, and again at the 1.382, the heaviest. So I personally have my bags packed on this one. And again, it comes down to exactly what we just talked about on all the other strategies on the other coins, is looking to see, do we validate to the upside, right? Not only did this hold corrective extensions to the downside like we talked about earlier, let's go check the RSI and volume to see if that same strategy applied here, right? Do we have those same divergences? Let's go to an 8 hour so we can see that RSI divergence. All right, so you can see the price action made lower closures or the flat spots on the candle, and RSI made a higher closure. That's a regular bull divergence at an area of interest. Now let's check the RSI and see if it corresponds. Now, this is what we talked about earlier, corrections ending on high volume. If you check my Twitter, you'll see again and again and again, I post projects that sell off to the upside strong and reject on high green volume. That's you getting used as exit liquidity. You're getting fucked. I guarantee right here, tons of people got screwed shorts or even sold out of their positions that they're really going to be sad about soon, right? This is an 8 hour bullish engulfing candle. Full bodied, doing the damn thing, right? Anyways, let's zoom out so we can talk about these targets and the why. All right, so as a wave 3, again, minimum wave 3 targets, what, guys? 1.618 extension. Wave 3s often get displaced. They often get your most impulsivity, right? So if it is to do that, wave 3 can easily extend past 1.618 to that 2.618 area, somewhere around that 670. So it's something that could happen. But ABCs won't break the 1 through 1.382 80% of the time. So what you would like to do, watch our bull control zone that we've been talking to each other about this whole live stream. Not only was this, look at your daily candle on AERO. Full-bodied engulfing. Amazing. Bullish, bullish, bullish. I love it. Now, on the daily, you have your deceleration chart or channel. As soon as we break out of this channel, the bulls got the wheel, baby. They're gonna take it, and they're gonna go. And I think a lot of people are gonna get left behind. But that's okay. That's what creates displacement to the upside. That's what gets us out of the base channel that we're about to put on. And that's what gives us hints and little cues that we're about to go impulsive, right? Along with some volume, shit like that. So let's be watching Gateway Drug 618 center line. Let's smash that out, run to 1 through 1.382 minimum. But let's go for that wave 3. Pull back in a base channel, hold the top, rally for a wave 5. These are amazing gains on the table. Taking AERO on just this daily time frame up to that $4.80, right? Now let's zoom out. Let's talk about the macro because I think this is the more important part. All right. So if you look at AERO on a weekly, it was in an uptrend. It comes down and does what? Retraces to the at least 90% level, meaning it's highly probable to take this high at some point and put in a whole new all-time high. And I don't know about how long you've been in crypto, but usually when we go to new all-time highs, during an altcoin season, shit just continues to go. There's no resistances. It's like cheesecloth, just punches holes right through it. Right? So I'm looking for AERO to make really, really good moves coming forward. So, all right, let's keep going. We'll work on AERO's lower time frames as we go. But it's like, how can you not be stoked about this, right? Like, this is really good gains out of a target box for a minimum wave 3 and then a wave 5 target to 200 and something percent, right? Then we look for a pullback and another continuation, right? And that next leg will be the big dog. That'll be the wave 3 of the wave 3, baby. So we're going to ride. I have my video on YouTube over all of this. And it breaks down the weekly targets and why we're looking for the things we're looking for, right? I just want to check this really quickly to see if they have. All right, so my other one was the better one. So it's the same thing. You've got to consider that upside. We're on linear because we're on the weekly. And AERO would be giving that leg a partner leg, right? To get you to the wave 3 target on linear, minimum. $4 and wave 5 linear target of $5.45. This would be an amazing ascent, right? This would be wave 1, big ass wave 2, wave 3. If it doesn't displace and doesn't get extended, wave 4 pullback and a wave 5 continuation. Okay. All right. Let me go check what we got here. Looks like we had a question from EG. Question: when placing channels, do you always do high to low on downtrend and low to high and uptrend? Yes, every time, because that's the base channel, right? So essentially, if you can imagine a motion to the upside and a motion to the downside, and you're curious what these little booties are going to do, then you go from low to high in an uptrend because it's the base channel. And then the same thing on the downtrend. You go from high to low, right? And typically, to validate your channel, you really want to see these candlesticks react at your center line after your 3 points of connection. So 1, 2, and 3. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any other questions. But base channels are a son of a bitch. They're a good thing to add to your charts. It's another area of confluence. It gives us more targets, more things to look out for. So I think they're amazing to learn. Let me know if you have any more questions over that, sir. All right, just reading the chat here to see where we're at. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing, right? It's going to be those center line reactions, EG, or AG, I apologize. That midline oftentimes for us will come in around that, that gateway drug, that 0.618. And that gives us kind of, the confidence to say, hey, I think X, Y, and Z is happening. Let's go see who we got here today. It says we got 42 views. Well, I can't tell who's here right now, unfortunately. It's not showing my whole list. But anyhow. All right, let's keep going. Do you guys have any other charts you want to go over? Any other altcoins? Any questions about how to apply these fibs, channels, stuff like that is really good. I'll go through something on PEPE with you guys. Do you want to do that? It's a good learning opportunity. I know you can say, oh, well, that's cherry picking and yammer. I don't give a shit. That's negative talk. This is called education, and this is how you do it. So let's go to log. Let's reset this chart, and let's talk about a very clear, crisp setup that was delivered to people on PEPE. We got to use the USDT pair so we can have a longer pair. This was a trade that we took early on in the season in our Discord community, or well, in my Discord community, but my people and I, all my friends, and we took these lows as an entry here. I got all these arrows because I like learning. I sold out early, right? So people say, oh, you missed the move. I made 1,400% on the move up, and I sold out early. You're right. I sold out here. It fell back and continued to go without me. So I sold out at 1,400%, and I missed out on about 118%, right? So I really don't give a shit about missing out on 118%. The thing that, guys, we have to learn to do here is capture the impulsive or displacement leg of the move. That's why I continue to harp about wave threes, wave threes, wave threes. That's what we're after, right? We long wave 3, we long wave C. We're going after these displacing moves because that's what's going to make us the money. All right, so you can see 5 waves to the upside, right? And we'll label this so you can see it really quickly. You have wave 1 and wave 2. Here's another learning gem. Within wave 3, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves in 3. Pull back in 4. 5 waves in 5, right? It's an amazing thing when it comes together like this, and it gives you the opportunity to make a shit ton of money, right? 1,400% is nothing to squawk at, right? You pull this off a couple times in a season, even once, you made it. You made it, baby. That's it. That's all you needed. Good job on you. Yeah? So same thing again. You saw golden pocket support, and we add to it what, guys? We add trend-based fib extensions to this. So we can see, do we have a concurrent area of support or a confluent area of support? So it looks like 3 down, 3 up, and then a final pullback. Comes into where? Our extensions that we just learned, 1 through 1.382. So if you were buying in the method that we've been learning and doing the whole live stream, this was your buy box. Who gives a shit if you only got to buy once and you got left behind? You're adding into the trend, right? Because you were anticipating a higher move. So you should have been adding when we held that gateway drug as a back test and rode that shit up for an impulsive leg, right? You should have killed it. All right. Let me check here. We got another thing in the chat. It says, yeah, it's not coincidence. Often the center line is confluence with other fibs I have enjoyed and learned lots from your YouTube video. Man, thank you. It makes me feel amazing to know I'm bringing you guys some value and something to be watching. I will go over Bitcoin really quickly. If nobody else has any altcoins or any sort of questions after I'm done with Bitcoin, I'll just move on. But any other altcoins you guys want to cover, I will. Let's do a couple more. Let's pop whiff in here, right? I want to give you guys more charts. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. All right, we're still on log. The same concept in theory should apply here when you look at whiff. You have a possible 5-wave motion to the upside. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 within our 3. 3-wave pullback in 4. What did it do? Whammy. Hidden bull divergence on the RSI. By that, I mean what? Price action did not make lower closures, but the RSI did. That's a hidden bull divergence at an area of interest with prior wave counts giving you probable move to the upside again. We fucking annihilated this one also. And again, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 5 all done. What else did you notice when that happened? You have a regular bear divergence on your RSI. Let's check our volume. Oftentimes in a wave 5 or an extended 5th wave, you'll end on high volume. Whammy, there she is, right? So that gives you even more tips and hints of why this should continue to go to the upside, right? You have 5 waves, ends on high volume, it's possibly extended 5th wave. something to look at here, guys, and something that you might be able to take advantage of soon. You have an amazing daily closure, full body engulfing. What pattern do we see here on the price action, my dudes? We see a daily W bottom, right? Old Aunt Lucy with the lumpy ass that hangs off one side lower than the other, right? And on the 8-hour, we can see what? You got lower closures on price action, but not on RSI. And now you are attacking the neckline or the W neckline, right? As easy as that, guys. You guys can all learn this, I promise. I like to just go from wick to wick, and then I measure the technical target, right? The price range from the center to the neckline. It's a rough estimate. Don't get caught up in the weeds. That's 32. Who gives a shit if you make 31% or 32? Just make a damn move. So here we go. That would be your technical target. It would attack the bullish order flow left behind in this really bearish inverted hammer candle, right? It would get back up in there and smash out those highs. Guarantee it's going to smash them out. That's my best bet and most probable scenario here, okay? So I would look for WIF to possibly continue the drive to the upside and smash out those highs. Now let's go talk about it on a daily and look at why we have all these damn boxes on the chart. Here's an internal fair value gap or price action with liquidity that was left behind. To comprise a fair value gap, you need 3 candles. You have 3 candles. 1, 2, and 3. It leaves behind an area of price action from wick to wick of the first and third candle. They're all unidirectional closing candles, meaning every one of those damn things closed down, making a decent fair value gap. It's likely we're going to revisit this area, right? I don't know how we're going to interact with it. We'll see that when we get there. Let's move this one up a little bit. And this one's fine. All right, so on a daily, if that was 5 waves and A or 1, your wave 3 target is way up there. So let's pop these up here just for clarity of the chart. Wave 3, wave 4 would likely make some sort of shallow pullback, maybe a deep pullback since your 2 was so shallow. Keep that in mind. You'll often see an alternation in price structure between your wave 2 and your wave 4 corrections, right? So if your wave 2 is deep and scary as shit and it's over in 13 days, you know, it's possible that your wave 4 could go sideways and shallow and take 20 days, right? You look for that alternation in time and structure between the two things, okay? So wave 3 here for dog with hat could potentially get pretty juicy to the upside. And I laugh because it almost sounds asinine to see this coin fly back up here. But this is on log. Your minimum wave 3 target would be 860, and your minimum area of interest for a wave 5 would be around 21 bucks. Now, I do think that you might be getting a little long in the tooth to try to shoot for something like that. Let me see if we have a longer chart data here. Don't need that. Oh yeah, that's right. It's just whiff. Sorry, guys. All right, so that makes a lot more sense. Let's delete everything. You have a lot more price action here to go off of. This makes a lot more sense. So both of your old peaks here were on bullish order flow or green closing or green candles up here, so it's likely to come back to it. So if you're looking at this on a weekly, I would say go to linear to keep your targets realistic. I'll fix that click here in a second. Let's go to linear. Let me get these placed and then we'll go back and talk about more. All right, so if we go from low to high to low, and remember that we had a possible expanded correction there. Let's go to, we're on linear already. You can see how that makes your targets significantly much more realistic versus if I go to log, now you're claiming whiff is going to $21, right? So it's a much different target. So be aware of that, right? This will all be in the video for you to see all the different levels that you could investigate during that time. But that's another chart to be watching. Let's look at one more with a really good prior setup. That would be graph. We can see a possible 5-wave motion to the upside here. Let's pop these on. No overlap between 4 and 1. Finishes in 5 waves. Likely to be a possible impulse to the upside. Looks like I already looked at this morning. Let's go back to the 8-hour. You can see again. Did this? No, this one does not have a regular bull divergence. It must have been on the 4-hour that I saw it. But anywho. Excuse me. This cough's killing me. Let's delete this little inappropriate looking drawing. I think it must have been because of the volume. Let's look and see if the sellers is what it was. Yeah, you can see your sellers dried up going from your possible wave 3 to 5 within the C to the downside. Which is how you can tell that a trend's exhausting, right? That's called a momentum divergence. A, B, and C. And then we would look for this to make a strong motion to the upside. Let's turn off the volume in RSI so we can see a little more clear. And let's talk about the targets. This is another one that could really turn into a banger here. It would be graph. So we go from 0 to 5 to the lows, and we look for this to come up to the next counts, right? So let's clear up the chart by just moving these up here for now. We don't need them down there because we likely aren't going to revisit that price action. And we'll do the same thing again, a base channel again. Same concept, same strategy, same shit. Nothing changed, right? You shouldn't even be fearful. That's a daily full bullish body, big old green bodied candle. All gravy, baby. Soon volume will come. All the assholes will come who miss these lows. Maybe they might need a little more coaxing and convincing. But I do think in time we're going to see a good move out of this. So these are kind of your roadmap or targets to be looking for here on graph for now. All right. I think we've covered about 1 million coins. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, the way you explain each and everything is really nice. Thank you. That means a ton, man. I think it's important that we go in depth and we talk about all these things because it gives everyone the opportunity to learn together. I'm telling you, the more people that can get in the know on this and begin to use probability and mathematics towards investing, the longevity of the crypto space, it will come up because your average person will be able to invest. They'll be able to understand what's going on, right? And I think that's going to be really, really critical. Any other charts you guys want to talk about? I got a couple more. I'll just keep firing them from the hip. Here's another one. This is, if XRP goes, this is kind of like your fucking Hail Mary XRP. This is part of the Flare network, and it helps the whole ledger and everything work together to bring forth use case. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to hear about it, guys. What you know about Flare, please let me know. But I see 5 waves up in a possible A, a long, lengthy B wave that possibly expanded the lows. And now we're waiting for 5 waves up in a C, which would most likely take the highs of A because expanding flat is the most common style of flat, which would mean we would likely see that C wave press up to the 1.236 around 0.04590, maybe even pushing to the 1.382 or hitting the 1.618, which we can see happen in expanded flats. So even from here, you know, that's 150, 194, and 290%. So really good to go through all the coins we talked today and just measure them up for yourself and see, do any of these weigh out for a decent investment for you, right? Because I can't give financial advice, just an asshole in a bathrobe. Again, let's look at Tau. I think that's another one people's eyes should have been on. We've been raking in the money on this thing. But I think that this is wave 3, 4, and going for 5. Now, can resistance come in sooner? Sure, it does happen often that the wave 5 just makes a insignificant high, especially if the wave 3 was extended. Another thing that people like to see in the Elliott wave world is a wave 1 and wave 5 that have a very identical leg or a 1-to-1 of each other, right? So I just cloned what that leg's length was. And you can see how that would get us just up past the center line reaction of the acceleration channel, placed from 2 to 4 to 3. Because again, this is an uptrend. So we're going to go from low to high, like AG pointed out, right? That's something critical to remember as we're moving up. So that could come into that resistance around 524, but who gives a shit when you was buying way down here? You make great money. So let's see what's going on. When we get to that top, what would we likely see, guys? You would likely notice that your RSI did not make a new high, but your price action did. Regular bear divergence on the price action and RSI. You would also possibly see not a whole lot of buyers, or if you're lucky, maybe you get an extended fifth and a ton of volume comes in and justifies it. And at that point, it would make Swiss cheese out of this 618, and it would break out of the top of the acceleration channel and find support on top and make a run for one more. Okay? Now, that's not something we count on, but it can happen. Right, we saw this early on in Toshi. For all of you who were here and watched the Twitter, you noticed Toshi did an amazing extended fifth wave to the upside. And it gave a lot of people a really good opportunity to make some money and get out and amazing profits, I hope. So that was an extended fifth wave there. You can see amazing pin bar support was made off of what, guys? Your bullish control zone on the 8-hour. This was all posted on on my Twitter. I pushed the wrong button. But you can see that you held, let me get this damn thing, sorry guys. You held the 50 level on the RSI and the 50 level on your EMA. That's all you need. You don't need 20 damn indicators to tell you guys how to make informed decisions. You're smarter than that. All you need is RSI and volume. You don't need all these damn things with buy and sell signals and crosses and dots. You don't need that shit. You guys are better than that. You're better than a black box system. Yeah? All right. Let me go see if we got any other charts or anything. Nothing yet. All right. Since I'm just carrying on, let's cover Bitcoin really quickly to wrap this up. And then I'll check the chat one more time to see if you guys got anything. And then I think we'll shut it down. We've been on the stream for about an hour and a half so far. All right, so I want to start on Bitcoin on the macro, and I'm going to lay out my chart as you guys watch so that you can kind of see my thought process and how I go about putting everything on my chart, even from a weekly standpoint. All right, let's get rid of the magnet. And let's just focus on our individual trend that we're seeing here on the weekly to the upside. In my opinion, the most probable way to count this is going to be a wave 1 into a wave 2, a wave 3, into a wave 4, and all of this is making your extended fifth. The reason I go saying this is because what did we do? We just missed by the skin of its teeth the minimum 1.618 target, right? And people always say like, oh well, why can I set my buy order or sell order at blah blah blah? Don't set it directly at a fib. That's idiocy. Right? Set it in the area. If you're going to set an order, set it in the area of a fib. Don't be an asshole and pick round numbers with perfect sense and all this shit. Right? They're going to front run you every time. So anyhow, when we place our extensions to try to guess where a 5 can go or try to dictate where it could happen, you go from 0 to 3 to 4 and you look for what? You look for that 0.618. We've talked about this time and time again. That takes Bitcoin up to 128K. Can it get extended? Yes. That takes it to the 786. In my opinion, around 167 would be your next target after that 130K area. That's why I put the video on YouTube saying 130K could be that next Bitcoin target. Boom, let's keep our eyes up. Okay? I want you to keep in mind, though, that would be then your wave 5 of your wave 5. It would be likely over, right? So put your RSI trend resistance on from high to high and see what happens when we get this next hit. Do we make it through that RSI resistance, or do we fall back slightly, come through it, find support and break out? Happy days, right? You get a continuation of the trend even stronger than we expected. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves and say, oh yeah, that's what's going to happen, bro. You know, you would be an idiot to do that. So Let's go focus in here on the daily really quickly. And this is how I'm labeling up this last daily move. We're going with an expanded flat. So 1 into 2, meaning A, B, C, and 2 that made an expanded flat. 3 to the highs, guys. 4 to the lows. And this is all making that wave 5 of wave 5. Right, so not a whole lot. You can see there's a chance, right? Your return on investment here for Bitcoin might not be that huge unless we get a really extended fifth wave, which, as you saw on Toshi, can happen. Right, when you measure for that wave 5 target using the trend-based fib extension from 0 to 3 to 4, you can see an extended fifth wave that goes as far as 1.618 extension. It's very easy, right? It's not something we count on, but it is something that can happen. So let's get an acceleration channel on here from the low of possible 2 to the low of possible 4 in an uptrend. We're going from low to high to the high of a 3. Now, do whatever you want in your life. This is where I longed Bitcoin because we broke the center line, right? We were doing the damn thing. We were interacting with a center line after our 3 points of connection. So 1, 2, 3. Amazing center line validations. Back test the 382. Hold the 50 EMA on the daily. What else do you think it held? 50 RSI level, right? These are good things to show that the trend is reversing. Now you have a daily bullish engulfing candle. In an uptrend, we're measuring from high to low to see what our resistances are. If you guys remembered, we talked about this. Once you place that retrace Fibonacci from high to low, once it hits that 888 or 90% retracement level, you're lucky if you get a retracement here, guys. If you do, it's going to give you the 618 and then blast off again, right? Which would retest the center line and that area of interest, and then go for those next highs. So that would be basically how this thing would end, okay? All right, guys. Well, that's Bitcoin. That's all the altcoins. That's everything I've got. If you guys want to hang out and chat or talk about what flavors of cake you like or anything, let me know. I'm down for it. And if you have any questions, guys, over any of the charts or anything that I covered education-wise, please reach out to me. I will always keep all these things updated in the Discord. I'm trading, so I do keep everything updated there as I'm working in the same space you are, right? We're all in this together. So I thank you all for your time. I thank you for coming, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.